I'm Sally Erny. I'm the Chief Program Officer with the National Casa Association. Casa stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and our volunteers work with abused and neglected children in courtrooms across the country. So they're specially trained, they're very carefully screened and supported, and they work in jurisdictions in 49 states across the country and the District of Columbia to speak up for the best interests of abused and neglected children. OJJDP funding has been absolutely critical in our growth across the country. We've been in a partnership with OJJDP for over 25 years, and much of the funding that's been provided by OJJDP has been passed through to state organizations and local programs through grants. And the focus of those grants is increasing the number of children served. So the grants could go to state CASA organizations, urban programs, they could go to help start new programs, they could go to expand existing local programs, but the focus is always on increasing the number of children served. So without the support we've received from OJJDP over the years, we would not have had the growth we've had across the network. And the OJJDP partnership and funding also allows for us to provide training and technical assistance to local programs and state organizations in ways that will help build capacity so that they can serve more children at the local level. One of the most important trainings that we provide is the pre-service training for local volunteers. So we have a 30-hour training curriculum that is developed at the national level, can be customized on a local program level or on a state level, and that's the training that after the screening and interviewing that happens with a volunteer, it's that training that actually equips them to become a volunteer and do the work for the court and for the community. So the pre-service training is very important. We also provide lots of customized trainings around program governance, program management, volunteer recruitment, diversity and disproportionality, working with older youth. So it really runs the gamut. We assess the need in our network for the types of trainings that would be useful to them, and then we put ourselves to work in terms of developing trainings that can be either used as are coming out of National CASA or can be customized on the local level. I think two really important trainings that I'd like to talk about are Fostering Futures and Disproportionality and Disparate Outcomes. Fostering Futures training is a response to older youth that are aging out of care and how we work with older youth aging out of care. Older youth aging out of foster care are among the most high-risk and at-risk populations in our country because once children age out of foster care without a safe permanent home, they're more likely to be unemployed, they're more likely to not continue with their education, to be incarcerated, to have children before they're ready to have children, to have mental health issues. So the Fostering Futures curriculum is a curriculum that volunteers participate in after they've completed the 30 hours of pre-service training, and they learn about advocating for older youth and the different kinds of resources that older youth need in order to successfully move on to the next segment of their life. Fostering Futures also really helps volunteers empower the youth and for the youth to learn to advocate for themselves. Because growing up in foster care, youth have people making their appointments for them, telling them what they need to do in terms of taking medication and where they're going to live and what they're going to do. And so they haven't developed a lot of independent living skills. And Fostering Futures helps make that happen. And so the volunteers and the child are working together in advocating for the child's needs as they're growing up and aging out of the system. And so what we want to do is make sure that these youth are equipped so that they can have productive adult lives and get the support that they need in terms of education, medical support, and especially connectedness in the community and with a family or with family-like individuals so that they can have the tools that they need to be productive in society. So in foster care, children of color are overrepresented in our foster care system and in our court system. So we have training for local programs and state organizations around disproportionality and learning what that means in your community and what the outcomes for youth are who are overrepresented in the system. And there is disparity in terms of children in care and the services that they receive and their ability to get in a safe permanent home. And so this training particularly focuses on children of color and improving outcomes for children of color. Casa volunteers working with the courts and their child welfare organizations in order to make that happen. I think I would just like to talk about briefly the effectiveness of Casa and the fact that children who have a Casa volunteer are less likely to reenter the foster care system, more likely to be in safe permanent homes, and those factors really contribute to helping them grow and thrive as children, but also helping set the stage for them to be productive adults. And the work that Casa volunteers do is extremely important and has a significant impact not only on the individual children but on the foster care system, and our Casa volunteers help children get from where they are to where they need to be.